Hello, hello, hello. This is Raven, and today we are going to be talking about The Craft. Um, this is a movie that came out in the 90s, and there are going to be a lot of triggers. Hopefully, I can get through them pretty quickly, but I just want people to be aware that there is some stuff in there that may have an unpleasant effect on viewers. Anyway, the main triggers are that the first one is suicide because the main character tried to kill herself at some unspecified point before the events of the movie. She does have scars running down her wrists. Um, there is a flashback to when she did it, and there's some blood there. And in the climax of the movie, she's cut across her wrists and starts bleeding out. Um, those are the only two instances really where there's any kind of like blood or guts or any real explicit stuff. The main character is also almost sexually assaulted by her crush. She does get away before he does much of anything. You see him on top of her briefly, but they are fully clothed. However, she is clearly very shaken and upset by what happened. One of the main character's friends has extensive scarring on her back and arms, which is likely from burns. You do see the scars, and there's an experimental treatment involving what basically looks like a tattooing machine. And, the needle is poked into her repeatedly. That's kind of unpleasant. A man is hit by a car. No blood is seen, but you do see him being run over. Later, a guy gets pushed out of a window, and you do see him fall, and you later see the body. It is not terribly gory, but if you are distressed by that kind of stuff, you may want to skip that scene. A girl loses her hair in clumps over the course of the film. You see her mostly bald head several times and see her holding clumps of hair and crying. She does have like some sores on her head at certain points, like where too much fell out at once and it, made a little scab and stuff. That's kind of gross. If you've got problems with that, you may want to skip this movie. There's also shots of dead sharks on a beach that are not lingered on too long, but they are there, and if you are distressed by animal death, you may want to skip that. There are also bugs in the climactic scene and snakes. There's also a snake in the early part of the film, which is held up kind of menacingly, and if you are bothered by that kind of stuff, you may also want to skip this movie. Okay, now on to what they did right. They did take some liberties with Wicca and witchcraft, but they overall, kept the spirit of it, and they did use some real spells. Not many, but I did recognize a couple. I'm not Wiccan, but I do a lot of research into witchcraft and stuff, so I did recognize some of the stuff that they were doing. The main characters are sympathetic for the most part, and Nancy, spoiler alert, is well developed as a villain. You see her motivations and why she is the way she is. The effects were pretty good for a 90s movie, especially the practical effects. I really enjoyed those, and the climax was pretty suspenseful. What they did wrong was that, I'm trying to make this quick, was that one character's entire purpose, the girl whose hair fell out, was to be racist. Like, that was the only thing that her character was about. The pacing was also a little weird at the beginning. I can't really explain how, but it just didn't seem to flow as well as the rest of the movie. Now, this was weird, but not bad. The tone of the movie was pretty serious, but the whole thing was kind of ridiculous. If you like that kind of thing, where it's played straight with stuff that is kind of ridiculous, you'll like this movie. If you do have a problem with that, like if you just don't like stuff that's ridiculous, even though the actors try to play it straight, skip it. Overall, I liked this movie a lot. It's one of my favorites. I watch it at least once a year or so. And if you can handle the triggers and you like this type of movie, I do recommend it. I guess that's it. So thank you, and I will see you on the dark side of the moon.